Holy moly. Alright, so you can see that in the background there, I just finished editing the video. An hour and something minutes. I think it's like an hour and 4 minutes. It's like, or an hour and 5 or hour and 40. I don't even know. That was part 1. This is part 2. Part 2 is going to break into the rear differential to see if I see anything obvious. I'm hoping that the rear differential is going to be a little bit easier than the front differential was. And like I said, to be honest with you, I don't even know. I suspect this is going to be a little bit worse. Yeah. And once again, I don't even remember taking apart that rear diff, but I think I must have. Because if I was in the front at one point, in which I never shimmed, if I was in the front, that means I would have had to have been in the back. Yeah. Stuff. Sometimes, man, things just don't sound right. But anyways, if I was in the front differential working on the car, then that means that I most likely would have been in the back. I just don't remember, man. And that's part of having a collection of vehicles, is that you get lost in the vehicles that you worked on unless you've taken the time to write things down. And I used to write things down, but I'm starting to feel like I ain't got no time for that. So, yeah. Let's just start part 2. All right, so to figure out what it's actually going to take to break into this thing in the rear, I'm going to remove the top first off. That's going to be the first order of operation, is taking that top off. I definitely do need to get some new driver bits because some of those bits are getting really worn out, so obviously real long screws holding on the top piece here. Got to disconnect the wire, which is going to require snipping of that zip tie, which, how am I going to get after that zip tie? I can try this. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to snip my wire. There we go. So get that out of there. Disconnect this. And be able to pull the top off. Then be able to pull the top off. Get that out of the way. Alright, so that obviously opens up the car. Now, looking in here, looks like possibly taking off those screws there, which will release the back portion of the cage. I'm trying to keep things together. So it looks like there's 1, 2 screws that I can get after by going in carefully, I think. So 1, 2 low screws on the shock tower, 2 high screws on the shock tower, which connect. So the high screws are connecting onto this section. So 1, 2 high screws, and then 1, 2 low screws, which is one right there, and then one on the opposite side. And oh, whoa, okay, I think I just found my issue with the back. Maybe, I don't know, something's looking pretty nasty in there. We're gonna check it out. Oh my gosh, I hope it's not what I think I just saw. Alright, I'm gonna prop this car up. I don't know what I'm gonna prop it up on. Maybe prop it up on this box. That way I can get into the screws that are in there without being in my own way. I hope. Which I'm not. I'm already in my own way. This is going to be loud. So, there's that size screw. It's a reference for myself. Try to take it off with as little little work as possible, if that's even possible. So, get that screw. Those two are the exact same. And then there were two bottom screws here. Looks like I have to go in this way. Maybe this way? Yeah, alright. I can go in. Oh, I can't. I can't. No, I have to go in through here. Alright. Sway bar's in the way. Everything's in the way here. Hey, look at that. Alright, so that looks like it's a same size screw. Yep. Alright, so those 4 screws are the same. Be able to get in through the little thing here. And then get right after that screw that's in there. Ah, you can't see it, can you? If I move you over here. You can see it now, right? Right in there? Yeah. Yeah, you got it. Watch your ears. Oh, and the screw's stuck. Alright. There we go. So those screws are the same. And that should, yeah. So that releases this whole thing. So now what I'm going to do is go after these 2 screws. And it looks like, yeah. So go after these 2, which, you know what? No, I don't have to do that. Not yet. Watch, this is what I'm talking about. On this side, right there, I need to take that screw off. Because if I take that screw off, this whole rear end can come off once I take these screws out of here. So, let's work on that. I'm going to take this wheel off. Take that off. I'd like to use all power tools to do that. Oh, wrong way. Wow. Alright, so that's off. Hex looks like it's in good shape. Now go after that screw. This one right here. Watch your ears. Whenever you see this driver this close, watch your ears. So that's also a long screw. Now that should release both the center brace that goes to the chassis and the basically the kind of tower to tower, or differential to steering / differential. So obviously you got that center brace that runs all the way to the front, and then you have the chassis brace that is right there. So that should have taken care of that. Now all I got to do is just flip this thing over. It's already trying to pop off. Flip this over. Go after these screws here, which are impacted with junk. So, pick these out. And flip this over and give it a couple of wraps. Alright, so that should be good. Go ahead and pop this on there. Get this out. Get this one out. And basically the whole thing is just going to want to flop. Once I take this last screw out, I believe. There we go. Alright, now, if I flip this back over, now this whole thing should come completely off. Right? Come on. There we go. So there's the whole rear end. Take a look at the drive shaft while we're here. Looks like it's in good shape. The ends look pretty good. There's a little bit of dirt on the actual chassis, which is fine. Alright, we're good there. So let's take a look here. So I'm seeing the same grease, dust, which is part of that grease that I use, which I'm okay with. So now to basically get this away or this apart, I can leave this together. That can stay, but I want to pop off these two screws here, which will basically like release kind of almost everything except for the sway bar. So I believe what I can do is 1, 2, 3, 4 for the sway bar, and I believe everything can come loose. I think that's what I'm going after here. So go ahead. That's a pretty long screw. Wow, that thing's way longer than I was expecting. Holy moly. Okay, but I guess it needs to be because it's going throughout that whole section of case. Which, that's obviously exaggerated. So that's that. Pop this off and go ahead and pop the little hinge pin brace off. Then pop this, and I'm going to go after with the small little driver, go after the top screws to the thing there. So pull those screws out. So that one. Get this one. This might be a step that I don't need to do, because what I probably could have done was just released, God, the dogs are flipping out. Means Mama must be home. So do that, and then slide these down and away, which will release the sway bar, and then there we go. Perfect. That is how I was hoping. See, what I was worried about is I was looking at this, seeing some crustiness, but I think that's just the way this is designed. So now it is kind of coming back to memory. So from memory, I believe this little piece, I think, curves into the front case, maybe. Or that's like a separate piece. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a wash upstairs like I did with the other one. I'm not going to take you for the ride unless you want to go. Nah, I'll be back. All right, only took like a minute or so just to get the diff cleaned up into the condition that you see it right here. Just use some hot water and soap on this Park Tool gear cleaning brush that I've had. God, I think I've owned this since I was in my late or early, could be late teens, early 20s, something like that. I've had this thing for that long. Anyways, so what I wanted to feel right off was I wanted to feel what the play was. So I'm holding the two cups together, which hopefully would lock down the pinion and the pinion and the ring gear. And this differential actually feels mint. I can hear the clicking. As far as any in and out action, there's nothing. So I am still going to take this apart because I'm already there. I only have to take out 2 more screws, pop this back off, and then see what's going on inside. And that will also give everybody a visual to this grease that I use. So it'll give you a visual. It'll like basically say this is what this stuff does. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this off. Like I said, whenever you got this driver here, just watch ears. Oh, you see what's right there?
Holy
what
geez.
is that?
What is that?
What is that?
What the fuck is that?
What the?
What is that, Private Pie?
So we all know what that is, and this time I'm going to save that piece because, yeah, I'm going to save that one this time. All right, so you can see that that was there. So that means that side did strip. Oh no, this is loose too. Oh my goodness, this was actually really loose. Like, not even doing anything loose. Is that the right screw? That don't even look right, man. So that would be about there. Oh, well, maybe it's right. It's the same size as the other one. So I'm going to pull this off. And we're going to get a look at what the inside of this looks. Oh, look, see? Now, see what I'm saying? That is how... I do wish there was a little bit more grease on the gear. But that's pretty much how I like this to look. And... I'm just going to look at the gear itself. It does actually look like there's a little bit of... Now see, if anything, you'd want to shim on this side to push the gear that way. But, man. See, I am seeing some shininess. See the little pieces of shininess? That's saying that this did skip. So, I'm going to pop this out. I may not have had enough grease in there. That is I mean, you can see it's doing its job. But it's not coating like I usually like to see it. So I might have been a little bit too light on the grease. All right, I'm going to grab a paper towel so I can put this down. So that is a possibility that I was a little bit too light on the grease here. So what I'm doing is I'm inspecting the grease here because I'm trying to see if there's any like little metal shards. Ooh, which there are. I knew it. Ah, yeah, it's in there. It's in there. All right, so I just stabbed myself with the metal shard. So I do have to clean that out. So that means the rear is what was skipping. So I definitely have to clean that out. Boy, did that bite me. That bit me nice. I could see it too. I could literally see the pieces of gear. You could see it. You see the little shiny? You probably can't. Man, I wish this was better. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get this grease out of here. Totally clean this out and see what's going on. So I'll be back after this is all cleaned up. All right, so before I go any further on this, so the non-ring gear side, which is obvious in this situation because when you want to have that tighter mesh, you're going to want to push the gears the opposite direction or, you know, than what we're used to, in a sense. So it had 2 shims already on that side. Now, there's a wonderment. There were 2 shims. Is that something that I did? Or is that something that was Losi? Feeling the teeth, there is a little bit of issue here. I'm suspecting I can still get some life out of this differential, full well knowing that there's issue. If I pop this gear out is there a possibility to be able to maybe shim this out a little bit further? Or is it possible to go ahead and shim this a little bit further? But what I wanted to show is this is the gear that's taking, basically, this is the gear that's taking the ring and pinion abuse. So this bearing feels real bad. Hear that? That bearing's real bad. With this one, not so much. This one still has a smoothness to it, but I'm still going to go ahead and clean these like I had done before. I am going to pop this gear off right now just to see what it looks like. Just take the gear off. Now, I probably could save things by even further. I clean that up a little bit. These definitely have a sharp feeling to them. So when I drag my finger this way, they definitely have a sharp feeling to them, which is telling me that obviously it's peeling off. So this gear is really feeling some abuse. I'm going to go ahead and just open this cover just to get a look inside. This feels really good. So I'm going to just pop this open, see what it looks like. And looks about right. I think up to the realization with this, the grease actually still has a clear appearance to it. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that alone. So that's just telling me I have a heavy diff fluid in that side, and the differential's not unlocking as much as I've got the front going. I did clean out this little bearing cap. This one I do have to pop out. So I'm going to go ahead and just pop that bearing out of there. So it's pretty clean now. This is clean. That's all set. I'm going to get rid of this junk right here so I don't spread more crap. I'll be back. I'm going to go ahead and pull the pin. Pull the pin made it sound like I was pulling the pin on a grenade. It's not grenaded, but it's pretty close. All right, that's wicked tight. So, and I'm going to throw some fire on that. Should be enough. Yeah, that was just enough. Just enough to burn the case. Alright, let's see if I can push it. If it doesn't want to pull through, can I push it through? It's like right there. Just grab it with these. And then that feels okay. I'm just going to rip it off, or not. I'm just going to pry it off. God. Dangerous with these screwdrivers here. Alright. I'll sit with that. Go ahead and push that gear out. So I wanted to see if there was and there is. So that's either factory or I did it. It's a very thin shim. So there's a possibility that maybe I can double shim that. Because what it would do is cause this to bite further in. Under normal circumstances, that's really not what you want to happen. When you have a rear end gear situation, right? Ring and pinion, they wear into what's called a pattern. And once you change that pattern or recorrect that pattern, it's normally too late. Because how do I explain it? they've interlocked, and they've interlocked for quite a while. So changing this isn't necessarily the right thing to do, but I'm going to do it anyway just because, well, I mean, yeah, I'm just going to do it anyway because I know I've got to order some parts, and this is going to be an expensive rebuild. Just going to check the bearing. Bearing feels really good. So inside that cavity, there's still some junk in there that I want to get out. Still a little bit of grease in there that I think I might want to see if I can get that out of there. So I'm looking for is metal shards. I don't really see any. I think most of it came out with the grease. So I think we're okay. Do the opposite with this side. Run it through this way. There we go. And that's not too bad. It's a little grease pocket right there. No shards. Nothing stabbed me. Alright. So this bearing felt like it was good. I'll put it on the thing here. A little too free, but it feels good though. So these bearings are mint. Feels like on these, all I'm going to have to do is just give them a quick little inspection behind this seal. See what we got going on here. Alright. So they do appear to be pretty dry. Yeah. Alright, so this could be a waste of time, but I am going to go ahead and, just like I did with the other video, pop these seals out and give it a... Oh, there you go. There's the liquid bearing that I was looking for. Holy moly. Yep, alright. Well, that means I'm going to flush these out. So I'm definitely going to flush these out. Clean that one. And I'll do the same thing with this, and I'll be back once I flush those out. But let's take a look at this bearing while we're here. Give it a quick little clean on the seal. See what we're looking at here. So these ones I think I might have to attack from the center out. Yep, okay. So there's that one. Let's see what we're looking at. Yep, a little bit of liquid bearing, not too bad. Go from the inside out. This one actually still had some grease in it, but you can hear the crunchiness. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with that one. And got to pop this bearing off carefully. Oh, carefully. So this one might have some grit underneath. So that's kind of what I'm waiting to see, is if there's grit underneath. It's wanting to pop apart. Oops. Alright, so this is the one that sounds not all that healthy. And that seal is spinning. So I'm going to go ahead and align that right now. I think the seal spun. Did the seal spin? Yeah, it did. Dang it. Alright, well, I'll fix that after the fact. But this one, hear that? That's pretty bad. So, I'm going to pick these last seals out and get these bearings cleaned, and I'll be back. Alright, so this one's already done. And I'm just going to do like how I've, showed before with these bearings. Just put the grease kind of on one side. And then it's kind of sometimes normally enough to go ahead and swipe it on down and in. And if it's not, just grab a little extra. that. Basically, you're just pushing it inside. Kind of like that. Grab your seal. Make sure you've got the bearing side. There'll be like a wear line. It's that side right there, I believe. Yep. Go ahead and put that on. And then just clean it up with a paper towel. But I've got two others. So the only one I'm not really concerned with is that one. And that's when I'm pushing it inside, because that one just is going to have grease on it anyway. What I did want to do is I wanted to make sure that I installed that shim. And because I am thinking I might want to see if I can push that in just for more engagement, I am going to install one of the shims. And like I had said in part 1, there's the part number for that shim. The 5 and 6 in the number is just denoting, I believe, the 5 and 6 millimeter. So I am going to go ahead and grab a little shim, and I'm going to double stack that, because I felt as though this gear, I mean, this thing is really, this is the gear that was shredding. And I don't think I've got the room to slide it over anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on. Put this back on the way it should be. Like that. Make sure it's aligned. Throw the gear on. Make sure that's aligned. Go ahead and take my little driver just to make sure things are there. And then take these tiny little screws. Buzz one in just to kind of keep it together. And then buzz the other ones in. And I let it be loose in my hand. And the final torque will obviously be by hand. So I'll go ahead and final torque it. Now, no shims go on this side, but it obviously does get a bearing. See how it gets a solid tone? On this side, I'm going to go ahead and install the shims. That had 2 shims on that side. Install the bearing. Place it on there. Couple taps. Yeah, it gets solid. That's it for that. So I can go ahead and put this side on this side, which is like a bearing cap kind of thing. Settle that down. Same thing with this. Bearing cap on that side. That's settled down. I do have the 2 shims on there. So I'm going to go ahead and install that. Put the outer bearing on. Like that. Now what I want to check is I want to make sure that this piece has room, which I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like it does, but that might be too tight. All right. So let's just see if that's too tight. I actually think it might be. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah, I think it is. Because I don't think it's allowing. Still feels good though. So that's just it. It actually feels pretty good, but it might be too tight. So I'm going to give it a couple of wraps. See if that allows it to thread in, and it does. Though it might be, that might be binding. It's actually all right. I think with the way this is, this could be putting on too much load onto the bearings. But there's a couple of things going on. Because I did just repack them, it might just have a tight feeling because the initial feeling that I had in my hands was really loose because the grease was basically kind of gone. So there's a number of things that could be happening, but we'll see. Does this really make sense? We'll see. We'll see if this is going to be too much load on those bearings. So I'm going to take the diff, install the diff now. It does go this way. See how that feels inside. Got to make sure that that's aligned. The other side doesn't matter, but this side does, because it goes along with the case. So it's like that. There we go. Okay. That's too much play. So it looks as though I actually can add a shim to this side. So I'm going to add a shim to that side just to get rid of the play that's there. And again, this might not even work, only because the gear is already suffering. So this might not actually be a fix. But I'm going to go ahead, take that off, pop the bearing up, install another layer of shim on there, which, why does that look dirty? I'm going to install another layer of shim on there. So one more shim. So now we're up to 3 shims. Go ahead and just install the bearing inside, and then just slap this right over it. Oh, actually, probably shouldn't have done it that way, because I want to tap the bearing down. Nice and solid. Put that on. Seems like it's good. And go ahead and reinstall. Flipping that around. And it went in really good. I'd say that's minimal. Checking for binding. It actually feels okay. Yeah, that actually feels all right. You can see that's the motion. Man. Alright, I'm going to just toss the back cover on to see if it gives additional clamping force. Okay. That's probably what I'm going to have to live with. I could try one more shim. And I think that's what I'm going to do, just because I'm already here. I will try one more shim. Might be too much. But I'm already here. Might as well give it a shot. So we're up to 3 shims now. I'm going to grab a 4th. See what happens. Still the slightest amount of play, but there's a lot more binding, I think. You can definitely hear that gear now. There is still a little bit. And I think because this thing is so mangled, that's what I'm going to stay with. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with grease. You know how I do it. Use my special stuff here. Let it get slathered everywhere. And I will let it eat into that hole. Put a little bit more on there. So it kind of folds it in a little bit. I want it more on the gear side. Like that. That's what I think I'll do. Because that's like a valley, I'm going to go ahead and stick it on that valley right there. I know. Looks like it's gobs, and it is. But it might be enough to keep it happier. So I'm going to say I'm happy with that. Yep. I'm going to be totally fine with that amount of grease in there. Because if anything, what is it going to do? It's just going to help it. I hope. We'll see. The back case on. Little bit of binding after I put that case on. It might have to be one of those things where this is going to be... Yeah, that's a little stiff. It might just have to wear into a new position. I think at least I'll be able to get out there and rip this thing. So what I can do is I can bench run it. Let it kind of do a gear break-in. Break-in. You can feel it though. Its time is limited on this planet. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and install those screws. Ah, that one was stripped. And I saved, supposedly I thought I saved the piece. Oh, did I throw it away? Oh no. I might have thrown it away when I wrapped up that old paper towel. Oh no. Nope, there it is. Right there. So this needs to go back in there. Don't think I liked that. But I'm going to go ahead and install this back in there. Let's see. It's grabbing it. Dang it. Alright. Let's see if I can twist it in. That's it. And I think this one may have been stripped as well. So I'm going to use a piece of the Lexan to do that one. So what I'm saying is that I grab a thin slice of this while being careful. Just like that. Take that, put the fat end going inside. The skinny end is out. Then screw it in, and that end should stay. Oops. See that little piece? The little piece should stay there. It's there, I think. And I don't think that worked this time. And it looks like I'm gonna need a whole new case. But not today. Yeah, it's gonna be breaking in some new teeth. Yeah, might be loud too. We'll see. At least I know what I need. I need everything. Alright, so that's tight. This is kind of getting there. So now I just got to install this back onto here. How do I want to do that? That's pretty much like that. I should check these pins though, shouldn't I? Oh, they feel seized. Yep, that feels seized. Yeah. Yeah. Yep, they're seized. Oh, wow. So I'm going to clean these up on some sandpaper. And then basically you just take a drill bit, like I've said before, kind of just run the drill bit into the hole, and it helps clean it out from grit. Same thing on this side. If I had my drill, if I had my new drill, which is going to be coming soon, now I'm just going to go ahead and sand these up and I'll be back. Alright, these should look a little bit better. Not perfect, but they're definitely a lot better than they looked before. So, go ahead and check that. Look at that. Look how that drops in there now. That's how you want it to be. Diamond dust was really wreaking havoc on this car. That side is... yeah, look at that. Big difference. Not perfect, but definitely a big difference. Yeah, look at that. That's mint. Just barely even pushing that through. So, put those pins in there. Put on the bottom. Put the drive shaft into place here. Up and over this side, and in place right there. Put that there, put that there, like that. And then same thing with this side. Put that in a position. Pin in and just kind of pray it doesn't move. Take a big pin brace, which you can obviously see which way it's going. So it was facing this way because the way that you can see there's some rub on there. So I'm not going to do anything with that. Just go ahead, install one side, install the other side, like that. Take this, put this over it, like that. I'm going to drive the screw through, because that screw goes like that. So hold on to it. And those were really long screws. So they were these ones right here, because they literally go all the way down like that to the other side of the case. Alright, or not, because I must not have it aligned right. I think I got it now. Or not. Alrighty. I don't have it aligned, that's what it is. I was into the wrong section. Yeah. There we go. Put that in. Put that down. There we go. Now we're there. Now we're cooking with gas. Throw this one in alignment somewhere here. Right there, I believe. Okay. And I'll give the last bit just a little tweak this way, so I can feel the tightness. And that's there. And that's there. Okay. So that's good. So now I can take the sway bar, put the sway bar into place. Right like that. Swing those up. Up. And now get the tiny little sway bar screw. And I think that's there. So just nice and easy. It's into real, it's just holds the bar in place, doesn't tighten it down. Tightens the little captured piece of plastic right there. That's all set. Now I can go ahead and get those two top screws, get those two bottom screws, and let's see, what do I have for screws here? So I've got 4, which were the same, 2, which were pretty long, and then obviously this one is for that center brace. So the 2 long ones are going into the body, so these ones are the cage, so those ones can be set aside. All 4 of these screws are the same, so I can now install those. Nice and easy. Light touch, or holding this tool really light. You basically hold it with the 2 fingers, and then it kind of rocks, and you just basically let go of the trigger. That's why I do like this little tool here, but what I don't like is I don't like that it's not magnetic. Alright, so that's not lined up. Here we go. There we go. I think that was it. Don't even tell me that screw broke. You've got to be kidding me. That screw broke? No way, dude. That screw broke. What? thing is that much of a piece of garbage? Oh, man. All right. Take this back off. Now I have to do this. I have to do what I didn't want to do because that broke. So I'm going to have to take off. You have got to be kidding me. See, it's not always... It doesn't always happen the way you want, man. Alright, so I should be able to just take this off these two screws here. 1, 2. So this one. I'll keep those up there. The head just fell off in my hand. Or no, was it the shims? Ah, the shims did. Alright, so that's now separated. Here's the two shims that are for that piece, but watch this. This broke. At least, oh no, it didn't break. It didn't break. It was just such a piece of crap screw. It just stopped. Wow. I'm going to have to use an easy out to get that out next time, so never mind. So it's in. I guess I can get those screws now. Dang. That's crazy. Well, it made it easier to get those now, I guess. It didn't break. The threads were junk. Not the threads, the hex. Because that should not have broken under this amount of pressure. So, even back then, this was a pre-COVID car. So, yeah, this was a pre-COVID car, so this had nothing to do with that. That's pretty nuts. So you gotta put these in. So I'm saying you gotta do this. Put these little shims on. And then what happens is you basically just bottom out the thread like that. Very carefully place this in place. Like that. And then screw it from this side. Got it? And then the next screw. You can see how much of a pain in the neck it is. There you go. Alright, so I got that one. Get this one down. That's good. Go ahead and reinstall this pin. That little notch facing down, because that's what attaches into the chassis. This little plastic piece here. 2 long screws. That feels good. That's good. So that's all set. Now the fun part will be drive shaft. It's going to be feeding this into place along with that little center base piece. This piece up here, because that's got to go in. Got to lift up drive shaft into place. Kind of like that. And then lift that, open that up, and there we go. So while I'm holding this together, I'm holding the bottom, I can feel that the, I almost said triangle, that the rectangle fit into its slot. I'm going to take this little screw and guide it in through the brace, and then go ahead and screw it in. Just like that. Now that should hold that together. Flip the car upside down. And you can see that's into its notch. This is basically into its little spot. Once I get those screws in there, it'll suck it down or suck it in. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one. One. See how it sucked it into place? Two. Three. Four. Give this a tweak. Give this a tweak. Okay. The wheel on. There we go. Now these should be thread locked on. So actually, you know what? I'm going to back that off. And I am going to thread lock that. Man, I forgot I'd ripped the end off. So what I'll do is I'll pop that back off and get a little bit of thread lock on my finger. Just like that. It's a little bit too much. Throw the wheel back on. And then go ahead and torque it down. And I'll check it by hand using this. Just to make sure that felt good. And the last part will be installing these screws right here. And it's to put the body back on. And so you have to worry about the wire right now. So it kind of has like a little nub. Nub on. Nub on. I'm going to flip it up. Throw a screw in. Throw a screw in. That's it. Connect up the light. And then I could zip tie it like it's supposed to be. Right through here. Just like that. And just take my little nippers and nip it off. Done. So hopefully now I might be able to get a little bit more ripping done with this thing. I think what I should do is just put this up on blocks. Or should I say put it up on a box. And I just want to hear the differential. So I just kind of want to hear what this thing sounds like right now. I don't remember what battery I've got for this. I mean, what remote is for this thing. Crap. Got one antenna. It is SPEKTRUM, so it's probably labeled. I'll be right back. Now, keep in mind, this repair isn't going to always be for everybody. Some people might not even call it a repair, but the whole thing is that it works for me. You don't necessarily always have to throw parts at something if you can try to stretch your imagination and think of something else. Now, Is that rear differential destroyed? Yeah, it is. Do I already know that? Yeah. And why did I kind of not care about how I remeshed things? The reason why is because everything is mangled. So at this point in time, I see nothing that's part of that differential that is of any value. The case is stripped, gears are junk, the bearings are junk. The only gears that are seemingly okay are the ones inside the diff, but even those are original and those are junk. So we're up to 3, right? 3 strikes, you're out. Well, there's more than just that, because not only is the diff case itself, the actual differential, not the housing, but the differential case. You know, the part that holds the planetary, the part that holds the sun gears, that piece. The rear end, the actual, so let's just say like inside of the rear differential, the kind of, not pumpkin, what do you call that? It's really, it's the actual rear end gears. So the actual rear end gears themselves are also junk. So, and it's like, at what point do you just do what it takes to hopefully take an RC, like this one right here, and put it back into a position where you're just going to rip it again. Now, I am going to do a bench test. I just have to find the remote. But this isn't necessarily a, like, factory repair. This isn't a repair that you're going to get when you go to the dealership. This is a repair you're going to get when you go to RC Guy Garage. All right, so now what I want to do, now that everything's together, is I do have an OVONIC Air Rebel Series pack. This is their 5200 60C pack, which is a 3S 11.1 volt, obviously 57.72 watt hours. I have been very pleased with OVONIC packs. So pleased that I have another set of Rebel Series 5200, but these are a 2S pack running at 80C. Now, I'm going to take these batteries right here, which it comes in a double pack. I'm going to take these batteries right here, and I'm going to charge them up, and I'm going to give this car what's called a light bash. But for now, I'm going to take this Rebel Series OVONIC 5260C and just run in the gears, like I said, and kind of give it a bench kind of break-in or gear break-in test. Now, I do have to be careful because I'm fairly confident that these tires are not very well weighted. But actually, you know what? I should just toss the pack inside. And mine has mine has a non-normal battery tray, but this battery tray that's sitting in this car is absolutely mint. It gives ultimate protection, and it just fits all the batteries that I needed. And that way it got me away from being restricted to that hard pack or hard like mount thing, because in this car, that was something that I always had an issue with, was that the battery tray that was factory was too specific. It was too restrictive. And to run basically whatever size battery that I want to run, sometimes that's what you've got to do, is get rid of the old and figure out something new. So I'm just going to have this set up here real quick. Toss this battery. I'm not even going to strap it in. I'm just going to lay it in. Show you how this is done. Lay that in. Attach this up. And just give it a quick run. Don't even need to put that on. This is another thing too, wanted to show you. So I always talk about, you know, hey, make sure you don't leave your batteries. Don't leave your batteries inside the remote. This one battery was basically like, well, you could see it corroding inside my remote because I forgot. I forgot my own rule, which was to take the damn batteries out. Yeah. See what I'm saying? It happens, man. The other 3 batteries that were in this remote were totally fine. So, remote on, car on. Get that LED light still works, man. After all these years. All right. So I'm gonna throttle. I'm actually going to use the throttle trim as its little break-in. Now you can see the wheels are out of balance. Man, those wheels are out of balance. Holy moly. Wow, that wheel's way out of balance. Let me see if it's the out of balance or is it the cups? Listen to that. Listen to that now. Now, what the heck is that noise? It sounds like the ESC fan. It is. The ESC fan. I think the ESC fan is having an issue. Well, that's going to be another video. So the ESC fan, I can hear, is going to need some oil. So I'm going to end up popping that thing apart because listen. Oh, see, now it's fine. But that noise that it was making, that low tone, that hum, the hum was the fact that that needs to be serviced. And it's very easy to service these little fans as well. Pretty much almost anything can be serviced. I mean, kinda can. The DB Pro is serviced and it's ready to rip. It's ready to rip another day. So this is RC Guy Garage, and this is probably the second time that I did that because I did like a outro and then realized that I wanted to do the bench test. So maybe I'm saying the same thing twice, but that's all right. Saying it twice, that's more impactful. So anyways, this is RC Guy Garage 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and I'm out to rip it yet again, another pack. I know all my shirts say not one pack, but there's a reason for that.